Alright, this time it stayed. It's crashing there every time I try to play it. Or record the screen, it was crashing. Anyway. So this one, it's all on DNS. So here's what I got so far. Remember before when we were doing Epic out here. Couldn't remember my password. Anyway, where was I? So remember before when we started, we were setting up this domain. Well, we were setting up this domain. I've already set up this domain. But remember, we'll do the same thing on this one. We'll point it to the DNS in a minute here. But remember out here where I did name servers. I have it set to these. I'm just going to copy this because that's what we're going to change on the other one. Alright, so we're going to go out to name servers. And we're going to set it to all the way to 5. We have 5 name servers. So, patience is a true virtue with any of this kind of stuff. You don't go look at it right away. Give it a few minutes for the system to catch up when you set things like that. Alright, so because I just set that up, it ain't going to be ready yet. And if you click your links, they're not going to go anywhere right now because your DNS isn't set up. And that's what we're doing in this video, right? So, first, where are you putting the stuff? You're going to want an A record. So, for now, I'm just going to pick my other server. This isn't 100% correct because I haven't set up the VPS. I'm waiting for the server to spin up. It isn't ready yet. So, needless to say, I can't see what I want to see. So, I could set up my other server, I guess, and actually go through that process a little bit. But that ain't what we're talking about right now. We're talking about DNS. So, anyway, this is the top level, very, very top. Nothing really done here. We just got this. Basically, that's the zone data for Al's how-to right here. You'll notice the dot at the end. That's normal. That's the ending of, that's saying that's the end of the domain name, so it knows when it ends. So you'll see that dot throughout. That's normal for zones to have that information. Alright, so we've got DNS set up. Now we're going to pick an A record. And typically you're going to do either this or this, but typically you just call it this. A is basically saying at the top level. So then we're going to pick a server. I don't know what server I want to pick right now. Okay, I've got to do -4. I think it is on this one. There we go. It's the easiest way. No, we don't want 48 hours. Usually you do time to live like 3600. That's what I'm going to put it at. It's not a dynamic DNS. Yes, this is capable of that. Now we've got, you notice here, it's going top level domain. Now, another thing you'll do is you'll set up a CNAME called www, and this will go back toals.com or wherever you want it to go. But in this case, it's going back to Al's how-to. Okay, so these are very basic DNS records now. Now we're going to set up an A again to this, and this time A or quad A is for this. That's an interesting, didn't look right, but it is right. Okay, because that's the condensed version of basically those right here. Everything in there would be 0. That's what that's saying. And you don't have to put the zeros in front, so that's why these are condensed the way they are. Alright, so we've got access to A records. We've got an A record, we've got an AA record, and we've got, this is like what I would consider the very, very bare minimum of what DNS is going to do now. So I don't know how fast this is going to be, so you know, to broadcast out yet, if it's going to be visible to the world. Let's just look. Alright, I can't remember my domain name. Pretty lazy right now. Alright, let's look up A. Why is it going there? Oh, right here. Never mind. These are the upper. These are the upper. I'm looking at the uppers. The upper server. See? krootserver.net. Ynick. These are the root servers that control the internet, basically. And then they're delegating to the XYZ servers, which then delegate to me, which, as you can see, what was throwing me off is this DNS, this NSEC stuff. Because mine isn't set up that way right now. So, alright, it is already finding A. It already knows that A is pointing to there. So in other words, I should be able to go here. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to cheat. Because I don't have a web domain set up on that server yet. Because we haven't talked about that yet. But this is we already have webmin set up. So, because we have webmin set up, we can do this. and then it should work. And look at that, we're getting to Webmin. So you can see how that's going now. I didn't mention anything about the colon being there, but that's just to specify a port. So I've got a protocol, a domain name, root domain name, by the way. It doesn't even have www after it. I've got that, you know, a port, because Webmin doesn't listen on 443 like everything normally does. That's why you put that. So you can see I can get there from there. I'll show you IP6, how to put IP6 addresses in. It's similar to this right here. So IP6, you have to put it in curly brackets, but this will get you IP6. So all I have to do is paste in between those curly brackets the IP6 address. And in theory, refused connect. Interesting. Oh, there's a bug in Webmin. If you don't have the packages installed, you won't get Webmin to work on IP6, and that's what I'm hitting right now. Sorry, it's not 100% valid setup on Webmin. There's a fix for that. I'm not going to do it right now. But this is how you get to an IP6 address. But Webmin won't listen on that right now. No, that won't work either. You gotta have the 10,000. Then it'll work. So we're getting to the server. Okay, that's great, right? Now what we also set up was this thing called the CNAME thing. Let's see. Let me think, where did I go? Okay. So with a CNAME, that's basically like an alias back to that name. So I can use www, and the domain server, the DNS, can say, oh gee, you're looking for that, well, let's find the address that relates to this. So then it just bounces. It's like a relay. It's like a link to, almost like a link. It's not really the address, but it links to the address through DNS. A CNAME does. That's typically how you'll set up subdomains that reference like this. You can use an IP as well, but you know, a lot of times you just point it to a CNAME. And so if we do this, you see, it started a new session as www now. And this time I'm going to log in. Alright. So, from a DNS perspective, we are working. We have got a base level DNS. Isn't that special? How does that make you feel? It makes me feel pretty special right now. Now, that isn't much, but another thing you can do for DNS is you're going to want to do, what am I doing? Oh, I want to do networking DNS. And then you want to go to something like DNS lookup. This one ain't too bad, but it's not what I'm thinking of. Nope, not what I'm looking for. This is what I was looking for. So, well, that was quick. It's already found everything. Well, that was very, very quick. Hey. Look at that. Everything's online. This is the fastest I've seen it online ever. Well, there's a CNAME failure. Oh, we gotta put www because, yeah. We gotta have the tired. But there you go. Base level, just rocking it right now. Oh, and then you can do like NS records too, because that's what we've got so far. You can see a lot of things already are, with the exception of a couple, a little bit behind yet, but you know, that ain't too bad. About that level of propagation of DNS already. So, all right, well, you know, that's fundamental. That's like the core level of like DNS. That's what it is, you know. I mean, it's that simple. You have that. And then you get into things like MX records and text records. Those are special because certain things need them for validation, especially that's when you find it. Like when you're setting up Google Analytics, in order to associate to the domain, and they want you to put in special records so that they can identify it, that they know that you have the DNS capabilities of interacting with the domain. So, you know, we'll get into some of that at a later point. But this is the fundamental right here. This was the fundamental part that I wanted to cover for DNS. I think that this is the shortest video I've had in this series thus far, but you can see how we got this set up here right now, right? Oh, I wasn't done yet though. That's right, because I set these up. So now when I go out here, when I look at name servers, you can see we've got that set up. Right, that's awesome. So now what I'm going to do is I have to get going here soon. So let's see here now. Got that set up. Let's see if I can put Al's how to into Hurricane Electric. I'll show you how to set up it in Hurricane Electric. All you do, return domain, and you'll say add new domain. And it's this simple. You literally just say als how.x or z, and then you just click add domain. And if you have had time, which it appears it's already finding it, yeah, we're already set up as name server. Now, without doing anything, we might be able to query this out there in DNS checker and see what we get. Oops. health-how.xyz. Look at that. It's already propagated that far out there. The name servers. That's just crazy to me. So it already knows, you know, I mean, all these servers already know. See, how DNS works is these servers are all caching these records. And the name servers, it's pulling it from this list here. So you see how I have 5 set here? You notice here, it's returning those 5. Each one of these individuals are different DNS servers in the world, and they kind of point out here where they are. So all that's happened is, by me setting that in the registrar, out here in Epic, this is what started that. So once this got set, it propagated it up to the core servers, which we can look at through here. I'll show you this, because it might make sense to some people, and maybe not to others, but this is a good tool for that. Health-how.xyz. And then when you do like an A, you're not going to find an A record. It's going to return just that, because there wasn't really an A record per se. But like if you do NS, you'll get that. And you see that? You notice I'm at the bottom of the chain here? That's what I was saying in my other video. I'm at the bottom. But above all of this, all this stuff happened. So A server returned, this server returned, this server returned, and you notice here, now we're in XYZ zone. So that's kind of a key. Here we're in the net zone. Net zone is kind of like the original net or internet. So these are the core root servers that are known by every DNS in the world, so that they can find other DNS records. So, but you can see it propagated down to XYZ, which then propagated down these 2 servers, then sent to here. NS4 responded on this DNS query. So it just shows the trace kind of this. And you can see right now, it's all insecure. It's all, there's no DNSSEC turned on right now. You know, it just returned, you can see kind of the core ... these are ... dots. And then XYZ was found here, and XYZ said here, 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 here. And then XYZ here said, okay, this points to here, 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 here. And then this went to here, 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 here. So, you know, you can kind of see the propagation of these servers say that you have to go to this server to talk XYZ, then this server, which is actually part of getting to the registrar, putting this in there, and then XYZ sends it out, and then XYZ sends it to our server, which is the name servers. Well, in this case, Hurricane Electric servers. But that's the fundamentals of all of this DNS stuff. This chaining of records down to the core, from very basic to more and more complex of the domain parts. This is just the dot part of the domain, and this is the XYZ part of the domain, and this is then my part of the domain. See, so that's kind of how that kind of flows. This only knows about XYZ from a register point, in that there are these servers set up to handle it. And this says I'm authoritative, and because I have those servers. I know the addresses to those servers. And that's how that kind of fits. The only difference when you do your own domain, I'll show you that too when I get to it, is you'll have A records in here for the name servers as well. So that's the only difference between relying, because these don't reside in my domain, so I don't need the IPs for them. I can go by the names that are provided by the he.net. So he.net has the IPs to these servers. So he.net. So on my servers only just look that up and find the IPs from he.net. That's how DNS works. It's treed all together. So that's fundamentally it. That's all there is to it. All there is to all this crazy stuff. Not too much.